Crypto market is interesting for sure. With the daily close, today we are going to look at something which is really interesting if you hold XRP. Now, as I've highlighted, I think this is really important for all of us to take a look at. Why is that? You need to literally go into the price action, the price structure to see what really happened, right? A base being formed after which you go through a rounded bottom, which means you do go down, right? The pain is there in the market, right? What happens then? You pump back up, you go through price structures or patterns, which gives you a bullish signal, after which you go break the moving average, bounce up, all those stuff. But what is even more interesting is that XRP has been following similar pattern from some time. And if we are here learning through the price structure, then we do see days like this has always been there in the market. And one thing which is bullish is that days like this happens inside the bullish movement, right? Just to confuse a lot of us, just to push you out before it actually pumps higher and higher. These kind of candles always come up. And right here, right now, we are like, okay, that still is a possibility, right? So instead of thinking about a new low, first, let's actually be a little bit optimistic, right? Even if that small bounce after the volatility is little bit of a new high, that still is something to look at, right? But that happens once you have already done that again and again and again in the same impulsive structure, which is like 30 days. 30 days is nothing. We've been here for a long time, and if this is happening next 3 to 6 months, 2 to 5 months, that gap is going to be really, really interesting. Why? Now we look at the Bitcoin and we're like, okay, the daily just closed and we just got an engulfing candle, even though the volume on that particular day is so small. So you didn't actually had a lot of buyers to kick those sellers out, right? That means sellers look like they're exhausted or something else is happening in the market. They are retreating. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of crypto. Now, we do have a lot of news to look through, but keep in mind, some of these projects, now this is like 10 days old. So some of these projects who actually come out and highlight this should be thought with care. Now, I actually saw this from Crypto Whale, and I was checking like, okay, is it actually a new news? And I'm like, okay, this is already priced in. It's already 10 days old. The market participants have already seen this, right? And in that case, when you look at the price action and understand like, okay, something came in and we already went through the volatility. Now, what we are looking for is something like this, a bullish structure. That is interesting because the fact that we just got a bullish engulfing candle at this level is really good. Now, why is that? As we take a step back, we would say like, okay, we broke this one higher. We did not yet retest this. Most of us are still here waiting for a retest. And here we are. The week is about to end. We only have like a couple of days and the volume is not much. But what is interesting is that we still have sellers in the market on a weekly structure because the volume is not huge and the price action candle is also not huge, right? So you do have a little bit of buyers, but they are also facing some sellers in the market. So by the weekly close, we're going to get a lot of information, but looking at the monthly candle, remember when we were here, there was a lot of people talking about the downside. When we were here, the end of Feb, people are still talking about downside. And yeah, we did get volatility. That was just a wick lower or nice in the market when you are looking at that on a monthly chart. Now we are traveling all the way looking at the moving average. That can be the level of resistance where the price slows down, because that also happens to be the previous level of monthly support close level. That's important. Now what that means is that the price still have upside, and this month still has a week more to go. So when we go back on a weekly chart, now we are trying to anticipate, right? We can be wrong, but we are trying to anticipate. Okay, there's a weekly candle. If this close like this, it still is okay. We have another candle to come up, and that can push the price higher. Till where? We're not looking for 40, 50,000. We are looking for this level of resistance. So $32,000 is going to be interesting range. Now it can go even higher, close to like 34, 35,000 when the pressure is building, right? But right now, we just talked about a daily chart and what we can observe on the daily chart. Great. Then we are digging deep inside that. We need to see like, okay, we get that point. But what exactly can put us into that framework where we think like, okay, we are more bullish than the bearish corrective thinking? Now, you come here, you take a horizontal line, you put it with these daily candle closes. So as I zoom in, what I understand right now is that last 4 days has been limited to this range, the price structure, and the current daily close just went above that and closed. We got a confirmation. That is actually in fact huge. Why? I'll show you. We're going in, we're zooming in. Keep that line there and understand. In that case, on a short term, you got a candle close, but then it actually showed you was just a wick lower. You got rejected, fake out. And right now, you did break higher. You got 2 candles above that, which tried to come back in, but the buyers tried to push that back up. That's the importance of the daily candle close. Now, we all know 2 or 3 candle rising methods always show us bullish narrative. Now we get the continuation patterns in a different way and fashion and form, in which some of them does look like this. Now this particular pattern is a lot in similar with XRP, because right now what we saw is a big day which went up, then a volatile day which almost erased that candle at one point and then came back higher and closed there. After which, you got another candle going back up, erasing a lot of this bearish momentum. Go back to XRP. We're here. What we are looking at right now is focusing on XRP, right? We got a big giant candle, which came down all the way down to 0.4. Then we went back up and closed at 0.42. Now, the next day, we tried to go back higher, but we got the candle close at 0.44. That really is important, because now the same thought process which we just used in Bitcoin, we'll actually plot our resistance here, the previous level. Now, why is that? Because that all goes all the way back here, right? You get candle 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a strong level while we are looking at last 1 year. Now, we came back to that exact level, touched that level, bounced off. So that is actually a good thing to see. Now, what can go wrong, right? The negative thing. I'm like, okay, if it's me, I would say get a double bottom, come back down here, and then go back up. That's still good. It can be just like, 2 4-hour candles, right? And then you can still go back up in the next 2 or 3, erasing that day's bearish momentum. So when the daily closes, if we are still here, not here, that is going to be something to watch through, because as we just discussed, if this is what's happening in the market, we really don't want to misunderstand that. Now, if you are going the other way around, you'll get a confirmation by the time you break the recent low. Not this one I'm talking about. I'm talking about 0.4, not 0.35. That is what I see in the market, right? So now we go back here and we look at the candles, the price action, and say like, okay, Bitcoin does show us some opportunities in the market. Bitcoin does show we are slowly moving back up. So we go back here in the market and we want to actually see like what the general market is doing. We're still at $1.25 trillion. Now that is actually a key level to understand. We were flirting with $1 trillion, then 1.1. We were at that level for a long time. We went down, we came back up to 1.25. Now, even with all of this correction, we are still maintaining that level. That is actually something positive to understand, because we do have some of these assets which are slowly trying to break and run higher. And among them here you get XRP too. So that's actually bullish. Now, that's the first 100 coins, right? As you go in deep in the crypto market, you're going to actually see volume and assets. So some of these assets which are actually breaking through does show us that it does have some volume. See, the top one here in this range is LPT live peer. So on live here, we actually go look at LPT. We want to see what the market suggests. Now, it can be 100% wrong, but what we are looking at is what the price action shows us. So we are going to look at on a daily and the weekly, and the daily shows us that it is interesting that it just broke to the upside. So it confirms like the A, B, C is done, and that C leg, look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you completed the impulse and you're going back up where you just broke this pattern to the upside. That is interesting. Why? Now we go on the macro to actually see like where the hell we are and what the indicators suggest us, right? This actually goes back in that saying like, okay, we came lower, lower, and lower. Right now we are in a pattern on the macro where we are testing these ranges. So currently the price is here. It can still continue up, test this resistance. So that means on the short-term narrative, you are literally observing that this particular asset is moving up, but it has major resistance coming up. So XRP, as it is moving up, the major resistance comes somewhere close to 0.5, 0.55. Say 0.53 as an average is where we are going to see a tight level of overhead resistance for XRP. But the same for Bitcoin is like 30K, right? We just talked about that. Close to $30,000 to $33,000, Bitcoin is going to get some kind of selling pressure for sure. Because on the other end, what we're observing is like the dollar is volatile, but it is still dropping heavy and it is still dropping hard. So when we follow this, remember, we were talking about this at this time, and then all the way here at the top, it's all recorded, it's all here in YouTube, right? We cannot actually change that. That's the truth. So right now when we are looking at that, it is coming down, down, down. It went up and right now coming back to this level. So what is more important for us to look at right now in the support range is that this happened to be a support here. So if we are bouncing off and putting in a new high, that is concerning. Why is that? This range is another important segment for dollar. If we come back up here, get this level tested and rejected, it is fine. We come back down to 101, that's cool, that's great, and we need to see that break. Or what is the even more bullish is that you bounce back up, you test the moving average, get rejected, go back lower. For us, that's the best choice which we are looking at, because on the other side, look at this, gold is still at these levels, which is so important, because right now this is like, we were at that level back in Feb 2022. Right now, after a year, we are trying to push in through the daily highs, through the yearly highs, which is actually really important, right? This actually shows us the fact that it's not just institutions, it's not just the retailers who are right now jumping into the safe haven assets because they have some issues in the economy. They see some troubles in the banking industry. There are a lot of fear factors in the market, and people are trying to jump in and out on different assets, and we do see some kind of corrections. But what makes me concerned is that yes, gold is testing all-time highs range, and that is actually really good. But remember, we were here at 2020, August 2020, and here at 2022, and here now in 2023. So if we get another rejection candle, what happens here is going to be concerning, meaning it's just a bull flag. After coming up, it's just consolidating and it may go back up. But if we get rejected, we go back to test the moving average. It's going to be a little bit of drop in the price of gold. Fine. Where will the money go at that time? Now, this is like it's getting a lot of buying pressure. Whenever it dips, people are buying. We get to see that. So the question is, gold, silver is getting attention. These are actually bouncing through, breaking through the moving average, just like the crypto market. So they are also now getting a lot of money from the banking industry, which is now really interesting, because now we say, okay, we understood the fact that XRP usually does these kind of days. Like, it's not like one or two times. We have seen this repeatedly again and again and again and again in a lot of these run-ups, right? It can be a short run-up. It can still be a long one. But what's interesting is that we still get another day higher, another day higher, another day higher, right? So we are not directly going all the way back down to this range. So the fact that market still has upside shows us that don't go bearish here. And I think, most of you guys who are here is not looking at the market in the way like, okay, we are about to drop. Instead, we are looking at the market suggesting like, okay, we are testing a long zone of resistance, but in precise particular range, the current one is stronger, right? Because that happened to be the resistance here and the support here. So it's kind of a strong level. So once you break this level, you can slowly grind up till this area, which kind of gives us a little bit room to say 10-15% move in altcoin market is still possible. We made a V-shaped recovery. We are testing the resistance. We are trying to make a bull flag. And getting a bull flag here is not bad. It's going to be really critical to observe that we break this to the upside. Now, for that, we actually go back into the market. We look at the entire crypto and we're like, okay, we do see a lot of these assets trying to break back higher. We do see a lot of these assets trying to push through resistance. Now, that is another critical indicator. Why? Say we take a random asset which we just saw in that and we are looking at what the hell is it doing right now. Fine. So here we are looking at that asset and thinking like, okay, it's been consolidating in that range as we can see right now. But the fact that it had a trend line as a resistance, it seems like that for my eyes. Yeah. You break that to the upside, you come back down, retest it, and you get a reversal candle at the retest. Now, I'm not saying go buy this asset, but what I'm looking at is the price action, right? And this can be 100% wrong to I'm a human being. But based on what we have learned in the technical analysis side, we're coming back here and looking at this and saying, okay, we're going to test the resistance for sure. I think the support held. So this is going to be a level of resistance which we are looking at. And we are so close to that, right? And there's a weekly chart. So we go in a daily chart and look at where we are right now. We got a daily candle close, which happens to be an engulfing candle. Engulfing, last week of uncertainty, which for me looks like, okay, that's bullish. Now, what we want to see is that can bulls push this through this level? Because if they do, now it's time for optimism in a lot of different assets. Because for sure, there will be correlated assets, even for this sector of the market. Like, the smart contracts, the payments, the metaverse, the AI, all of them do show us a lot of correlation. We literally, on a regular basis, go through this, right? A lot of different assets, studying what they're doing, the wave structure, the pattern, the price action, all of those. And what we understand after doing all of that is like the market is not showing you a negative sentiment saying we are looking for lower lows. It's actually suggesting we are range bound and bulls are getting stronger and stronger. After you see a break of this level like this, consolidation and a bullish move, that is going to be something which we don't want to miss. What you have to do right now is try learning how you understand, how you find supports, resistance, how you find fake outs inside that. If you have a doubt whether that's a change in the level of support, go on a weekly chart and look at the same level. Do you see a piercing candle, a reversal signal? Yeah, for me, I think I'm watching that, right? So that support level was strong. And after that, you got a bounce and then you came back down to the same level to retest that. So I'm like, okay, this level is going to be a critical resistance. But right now, the price is here at 7 and it can still go up to $10 to reach that level of resistance, right? So even with that move, the way it will look like is what we just saw in Bitcoin. Now, that is one of the reasons why in few weeks we've been covering Bitcoin, because it actually shows us the market sentiment has changed, and the change in the market sentiment is bullish. You just broke through and you're holding through that line. So as the economy and the macro issues are concerning a lot of us, we are moving money here. So guys, if you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're looking for updates like this on a regular basis, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye-bye.